All right, hello everybody. Welcome to Torn Tuesday. My name is Justin, and I am way close to the camera. Wow, my headset won't go very far. Hold on. Let me put these headphones on so I can feel like a real podcaster. And now I feel like a real podcaster. This makes me official with the big cans on my head. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. John McClain is in the chat room. Yippee-ki-yay. Hello, Kay. Hello, Tomas. May Govanen. Sarah Draper. I don't know how to say any of those words. Andrew.
Well then,
everybody.
You can
Ellen,
trust me.
Costas,
you can trust
everybody
me.
Is there? Wait, I hear a voice coming from anywhere else. Let me see. Who is there? Is he there?
You can trust
there.
me.
Hello, Clifford.
you can trust me to get some of the pronunciations that you cannot get.
That's right. Well, I was going back through some of our recent episodes, and I just didn't like the fact that my head was bigger than your head. So I've adjusted the framing a little bit. So
your head is still bigger than mine.
My head is. Oh my goodness.
I can get a little closer to the camera, but I don't think everybody wants me to do that.
No, I don't. Hello, everybody. This is Torn Tuesday, your weekly dose of all things Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. We've been doing this show for 7 to 8 years, nearly 500 episodes, the longest running Tolkien podcast in the world. Not necessarily the best, because the Tolkien professor does his show right after ours, and he is just wonderful. He counts Stephen Colbert as a loyal viewer, and his friends include Tom Shippey and others. So if you look for more Tolkien content after this show, find the Tolkien professor. He's live on Periscope and Twitch a bunch, so we appreciate everybody helping. Today is an
one of the best. Well, there's so many great content providers making amazing stuff. And my God, I'm glad you mentioned the Tolkien professor. He invited us to come and do a presentation once at their special Tolkien conference that they had. It was really a great experience. Oh yeah, it was. Yeah. And I was accompanied by our young friend here in Los Angeles, who is the head of the Tolkien Forever Los Angeles chapter. That would be
yes.
Yeah, Christy, who joined us. Yeah, it was wonderful.
That's
what a great time.
So
hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Every Tuesday, here we are, theonering.net. You have come to the one place for all the breaking news for Lord of the Rings and Hobbit fans. And sometimes there's some useful analysis, and sometimes there's some, logos. Sometimes there's some T-shirt. Hey, this is a vintage convention.
And I wanted to tell everybody up front, we are putting together our annual Hobbit gift list. So
yes, we are.
So if you've got some interesting gifts that you see on Etsy or otherwise that Tolkien fans will like, please tag us in some of those posts and add it in the comments, and because we want to see it all.
We want to see the people on Etsy and those unique craftspeople, the very unique artists who are making things that are off the beaten path, that are perfect for us as a fandom. Like dice rolling towers that you can use for your RPG games, and customized, Hobbit footwear, even though Hobbits don't wear footwear, but you can get homemade socks and homemade scarves. Perfect.
We want to see it all.
And we're going to put together, as we always do, this very unique list of gift-giving ideas for the holiday season. The Torn tradition continues at theonering.net.
That's
here we are. It's amazing. Well, welcome aboard, Justin. It's nice to have you pulling all the strings.
And
have you,
Cliff? Don't tease us. The movie isn't out yet. What did you just have in your hand? Hold on. Is that what I think it is?
Do you know what this thing is? I'm going to show you the spines. Look at this. Ladies and gentlemen, there it is. The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Shut the front door.
Shut the barn door. You let all the animals out. This is the 4K.
You have it in your hand.
In my hand. The ultra high def Hobbit trilogy and Lord of the Rings trilogy together on 4K. Look at this Amazing stuff.
Wait,
here's the art.
What?
Look at that. It looks like
what?
I got both of them at the exact same time. I had been on Twitter complaining like a whiny little boo-hoo. I was whinging, and it was really unfortunate. I was doing the one thing I never want to see people do. I was on Twitter, and I was whinging, and I was like, I could hear the voice of that character.
This isn't out for another 2 weeks. What? Like, you've got it in your hand? Do you even have a 4K TV? Do you even have an Xbox to play it on? What is this?
I have a 4K television that is being installed tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Yeah, but do you have a 4K player?
Yes, I do. I've got it right there. Oh my gosh. The one thing I need to get tomorrow as well is the cable. I need the cable. The ultra high def cable.
So to remind everybody, these 4K Blu-rays do not play on your regular Blu-ray player. They do not play on your 3D Blu-ray player. You need a specific thing that says 4K Blu-ray on your player. And not only can you buy a standalone player, but the Xbox Series X, the PlayStation 5, the PlayStation 4 Pro, and the Xbox One X are the only systems that will play the 4K. Do you need HDMI 2.1? Yes, you do. Cliff, you were in discussion. We had a show a couple weeks ago with Bill Hunt from the Digital Bits, and he gave you the lowdown. He told you exactly what to buy.
You know what? I don't want to lose any more traffic on our show tonight, but Bill Hunt is live tweeting right now while he's in the first half an hour of Fellowship of the Ring. Right now, commenting his thoughts and his review.
Wait,
on Bill Hunt's feed right now, he's actually giving his first response. Can I read this to you? In fact, we actually retweeted on our channel. Somebody there on the staff at theonering.net is paying attention to all these instant moments that are happening in the digital world. And believe it or not, Bill is being retweeted by us. And his first response to this is,
I'm looking it up right now. I'm sorry.
I'm with you right now. You know, this is what he said. He says, I'm going to read this out loud for everybody. Hello, nice to see you, Imran. My goodness, does Fellowship look good? HDR really benefits this world. The color is lovely and accurate, deep shadows, luminous highlights. Grain is light, but it's natural, with more detail visible than ever. Only 13 minutes in so far, but all caps, wow. Okay.
Wow. Okay. You have it in your hand. Michael Phillips says in the chat room, what I'm curious about is if there will be any changes to the special effects. I can't imagine there won't be at least subtle changes. That's what we want to know. Wait, Aaron says PS4 Pro does not play 4Ks. Are you sure? Are you sure? Because I think I've played a 4K Blu-ray on my PS4 Pro. I'm pretty sure. But you want to check on that.
Oh, by the way, we have a guest article being written by one of our audience members who's been a faithful member of our live stream for many, many years. His name is Oscar Villanueva, and he has been for days now putting together all the research, and we're going to launch this article to have a real open discussion to tell everybody on our website in hard copy, something that you can click and read while you're going to the store, about what kind of gear you need to start getting to get your 4K experience.
Orion's Angel in the chat room says, do not get the cheaper version of the video game systems. Do not get the $399 PlayStation or the $399 Xbox. This is correct. The only devices that will play the 4K Blu-rays are the most expensive. It's the Xbox Series X, the PS5 full version, $500, and the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. Evan, are you? PS4 Pro. I really thought it does not. It streams in 4K. It plays 4K games, but I guess it does not play 4K discs. All right. So your only options are the Xbox One X, the Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5. But this is definitely what you want. And I believe The Hobbit is in HDR. Cliff, tell me, on that package for The Hobbit, does it say HDR?
Well, no.
Okay.
It's the way it says 4K Ultra with HDR.
With HDR, there it is. The Hobbit in HDR is The Lord of the Rings in HDR.
And it lists on the silver banner all the equipment that you need to have it in HDR. It says it right here. It says it right here. To have the Hobbit experience in HDR, you will need this 4K ultra high definition set.
And it's in Dolby Vision too. That's awesome. This is the best news ever. Well, we're gonna have to get that linked up and start talking about these first reactions for that.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna start peeling the cellophane off. May I? I'm gonna look, ladies and gentlemen. It's a live stream. It's a live stream unboxing.
I want to see these discs.
Oh, do you know what it smells like? It smells like a fresh paint job on a fresh automobile. Right off the assembly line. That's what that. Oh, hello! It's gorgeous. Look at this. Look at this. This is a big, beautiful paper slipcase, and this is like a hardcore chunk of plastic. You could do more damage than throwing a can of soup.
This is the extended edition.
This is the extended Lord of the Rings trilogy. More damaging than any can of soup in 4K. And hold on. Look at this. Uh-oh. One of the discs, several of the discs are loose. I do not want this to happen. So I'm going to pop them back into place so that they do not get scratched. Hold on. Look at this.
Wait.
I don't want them to be loose. Okay. Here you go. They come right in and out of the packaging.
Ellen says watch party at her place tonight. Cliff, bring it over.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Okay.
When was the last time you got tested, Cliff?
I just had my last COVID test on the 18th, and
you're ready.
I'm still fine. So far, so good. But I'm going to get another one after the. Here you go.
Wait, hold on. What color is that?
Green.
That's
Fellowship of the Ring is green.
Okay.
And it says theatrical version. Okay. All right. Two Towers theatrical version in red on disc 2. Then on disc 3, The Return of the King in blue.
Cliff.
So just these theatrical versions, if you look very carefully, there are the original colors of the packaging. There's that dark pine green.
Oh man, Cliff.
This is what I would consider this a dark alpine green for Fellowship. This for Two Towers theatrical, it is a brick or like a burgundy red, and then here for this dark blue. This is what I would call a dark indigo type of blue. Not that dark, but there's the theatrical versions, ladies and gentlemen. Then the next discs, extended version, Fellowship of the Ring, disc 1. Extended version, Fellowship of the Ring, disc 2.
Wait, is that 4K or Blu-ray? Wait.
These are ultra high def Blu-rays. These are UHD.
Oh wait, so what we just saw was the theatrical versions?
Let's go through this again, children. Okay? The first 3 discs in the fold-out experience are theatrical only.
Okay.
Theatrical movies in sequential order of release.
Yes.
Theatrical, on the first gatefold, it is front. A green disc of theatrical Fellowship. Backside of this is the brick red Two Towers theatrical. Right? The next gatefold finishes the trilogy with Return of the King, theatrical. Then it's Fellowship of the Ring, Part 1 and 2, extended editions. Fellowship of the Ring, Parts 1 and 2, split across 2 discs and going into the next gatefold. And then the next gatefold. Wow, it just jumped in color, and this is insane. This is like a copper green, almost what I would call a patina, a very dark patina green that's almost olive shade, and that is Fellowship of the Ring across 2 discs. And then the next gatefold opens up, and there's the Two Towers split across 2 discs, 1 and 2, and of course at the end, predictably, there on this last gatefold is Return of the King Part 1 extended, because the extended editions are all in the back, and then Part 2, ROTK extended edition. No other extras, no other appendices, no other materials, and this is stuck in the back of the plastic. It's not on an extra gatefold by itself.
Do we get the cool looking paper insert that the original extended editions came on that looked like a map?
No, you get crap.
Hold on, wait.
Sorry, you get nothing. You get a slip.
Is that a digital version?
It's a digital scan code. And do you know what it lets you have? The digital movie code for Lord of the Rings. And
is it 4K digital?
It's Movies Anywhere.
Is it 4K digital? Does it say?
Well, it does not say. It just says redeem your digital movie code for Lord of the Rings Motion Picture Trilogy. But it doesn't say whether it's UHD. It doesn't say if it's 4K.
Okay.
But it seems that why would it be related to anything else? It's in this packaging. But no, there's no nice map. You know, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be negative.
You have no business to be negative on that.
No map.
But I will say this, Cliff.
Okay.
Let's bring up that first disc. Let's bring up that first Fellowship disc again.
Yes. Okay. And by the way, and here's the matching slipcase, which matches the gatefold.
Okay.
And
let's see that first disc.
Okay, and the first one. Now, nothing is falling out of the spine.
Unfortunately, Cliff, it's
upside down.
I've got the vinyl. I've got the CD and the vinyl soundtrack to Fellowship of the Ring. What does that look like, Cliff?
Oh, that's the original Fellowship of the Ring deluxe version of the soundtrack?
This is the Fellowship of the Ring. This is the color it is on the vinyl soundtrack.
Well, that's because the soundtracks were all assorted different colors that were not related to the familiar three colors.
All right, so wait, they had a chance to fix the colors.
They didn't do it. They did their own thing with the recordings.
Wait, why? So wait, Fellowship is red, Towers is blue, King is green. What are you saying that your discs are?
Well, you're talking about soundtracks versus accurate. These are not soundtracks. These are the actual movies, and these match the Blu-rays, and they match the regular DVDs. And believe it or not, this matches the colors of the original VHS tapes that came out in the year 2001.
Well, I prefer these colors of the soundtracks, which are red, blue, and green.
No, it's green for Fellowship, dark pine green. It is brick, or I would call burgundy, for Two Towers, and it's this impressive naval type blue.
So this is completely different.
Return of the King.
Oh, they had a chance to fix this. Which do you prefer? Do you prefer the soundtracks in the red, blue, green order, or do you prefer the movies in the green, red, blue?
I prefer the films. The way the films were released on all the packaging was all consistent for extended editions and for the VHS tapes and every bloody thing in between. I like the fact that it's Fellowship green and then Two Towers brick red and definitely that rich royal blue for Return of the King.
Hey, the chat room is asking, are we seriously arguing over colors? You don't know fandom, do you? Yes, it's been a big frustration that the soundtrack's colors did not match up with the Blu-rays or the DVDs or the VHSs.
So the special edition of The Desolation of Smaug comes out and the soundtrack is purple.
Okay.
And
all right.
It has no
I get it. I get
color relationship with what the
All right,
movie,
so what are the questions in the chat about the movie? So we don't know yet. Cliff doesn't have a 4K player yet, so we're going to post our first impressions as soon as we can. If you want first, Bill Hunt has been on the beat for 4K. He is the number one source of 4K information. Follow him at The Digital Bits on Twitter and go to his website because he is right now live tweeting initial reactions to the 4K. Guys, is there green tint in Fellowship? Tag Bill Hunt, the Digital Bits.
It's gone. Actually, everyone has immediately. I've been getting text messages all day from a lot of people who have said, "Holy cow! Did you know what happened late last night, Justin? The downloadable versions on Apple Store were upgraded to this 4K of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, and everybody who was watching the Apple digital delivery system said that the green tint was noticeably gone, even from the downloadable version of the 4K.
That is nice.
They're using these new Lord of the Rings and Hobbit in 4K. This is so exciting. Oh my gosh, look at this. I just love taking off that factory fresh smell of Blu-ray ultra high def in the morning. Oh, now see? Here you go. Hobbit theatrical. It's the same layout. And then Desolation of Smaug theatrical. Oh no, that's an Unexpected Journey. It is different. It actually is different in this. It's Hobbit regular, Unexpected Journey, and then Hobbit extended, Unexpected Journey. Back to back on each single gatefold.
Okay.
And then there's this one. Okay, second one is, it's really different. This is Desolation of Smaug on front and back, regular theatrical, and then extended edition on the second gatefold. And it's just completely a separate type of packaging. In other words, for the Hobbit trilogy, they did not need all the extra discs in the back. So every single movie, both extended version and regular theatrical, they're all on one platter.
The Desolation of Smaug is purple.
Yep. And so...
Wait, is it purple?
No, that's not. No.
What do you mean? I'm holding it right here. The Desolation of Smaug is purple.
Again, the distinction between home video color branding and soundtrack from Water Tower Music, which is Warner Brothers Water Tower Music, is completely different concept.
Green.
Of color.
Is it green then? Is it green?
Desolation of Smaug?
Yes,
it's green. Yep.
Okay.
And an Unexpected Journey is chestnut brown. Chestnut
there
brown.
It is.
Unexpected Journey.
There it is.
Yep.
There
it is.
Okay.
Okay. And for Battle of the Five Armies, steel gray, dark charcoal,
blue, stone gray,
I would say charcoal gray, or stone gray,
yeah.
So it matches the home video, not the soundtrack.
All right.
So, oh Jesus, can we talk about something else? Besides, what I want to talk about.
What do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about the fact that Peter Jackson and his team managed to keep this secret for so long. How is it that they and the people at Weta, and we have, look, you think Saruman has spies? You think the OneRing.net doesn't have...
Wait, no, it hasn't been secret because Bill Hunt at the Digital Bits has been on the beat for the last 2 years on this 4K release. Okay. So it is, you just had your blinders on out there in the Shire, where you're very insular Shire folk, aren't you? But Cliff, we have more to talk about this week because we have
that contract. There was a leaked contract.
Big scoop, guys. All right, when Amazon announced its acquisition of Lord of the Rings to build into $1 billion 5-season TV series plus spin-offs, it also included the rights to games and everything else. I mean, there's a chance we'll get Shire potatoes at Whole Foods, which Amazon owns. So today we got our hands on a contract, a real-life contract between Amazon and the Tolkien estate and the Saul Zaentz company and people that are developing one of the Lord of the Rings games. And this is huge because Lord of the Rings Online is one of the best uses of the Lord of the Rings license in any medium. Lord of the Rings Online has been going on for over 15 years. Many of you here might have had an account for a while and been joined in. This year during quarantine, Lord of the Rings Online has seen a resurgence as people are spending more time in Middle-earth. And one of the first things that Amazon announced after they announced the TV show is they announced an MMO video game. A big MMO, role-playing, multiplayer, online Lord of the Rings game. And that's all they said. They didn't say what is going on. Like, they didn't say what it is. But today we have more information on that.
We do have a contract that includes a bit of technical language that might be surprising. And I think that I've never seen this type of thing before. And I've seen a lot of contracts. This is something about a moral code being mentioned.
Well, hold on. Let's get there. Let me show you that this is real deal. So here it is. Lord of the Rings game license agreement. This Lord of the Rings game license agreement is between the Saul Zaentz Company, doing business as Middle-earth Enterprises, Leyu Technologies, which is a game developer. And so this is the real deal. The most interesting thing about this is, let me bring it up. There's Saul Zaentz. There's a
now everybody remembers the name Saul Zaentz because his film production company made the Lord of the Rings adaptation in the late 70s with Ralph Bakshi as the director.
That's right.
And that is Saul Zaentz, who also won the Oscar for producing One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with Jack Nicholson and Louise Fletcher, and more famously, I think, Amadeus, where they won Best Picture yet again. And that's all Saul Zaentz producing those films.
That's right.
Yes.
So in here it says Leyu, the game developer, is licensing with an agreement with Amazon to produce this game. Amazon is the holder of the license for it. So this is the real deal. Now, the thing that we're most interested in for our conversation today is first Exhibit B. It says all uses of the Tolkien marks and licensed content must be consistent with the high standards, literary quality, nature, and spirit of the Tolkien works.
In capital letters. Now note that they're making Tolkien works as a legal term in that contract. It's a legal term.
So let's continue on. It says no uses of the Tolkien marks and or licensed content will deviate substantially from the Tolkien works, impair the value of the Tolkien marks by reason of poor quality, insufficient resemblance to the Tolkien works or the characters therein, or be in bad taste.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Cliff, does this give you what's your initial reaction to seeing an actual Amazon contract?
Keep going. It says keep going. It says it must be free of vulgar material. There's another sentence right below that. Do you see that? Look at that.
It says in all circumstances be free of vulgar and or obscene content as determined by the Saul Zaentz Company in its sole and absolute discretion. Cliff, this sounds like something that Tolkien himself actually wrote.
It actually sounds like somebody who is taking more seriously their guardianship of, and this is to the credit of the Saul Zaentz company.
But didn't Tolkien himself say something about vulgarity?
Well, yeah. Tolkien sold the rights to them part and parcel to help pay for, getting his kids through school and the financial security of getting a house, and for he and his wife and his family. And, he wasn't making lots and lots and lots of money at Oxford to have that kind of financial security. The financial security that came from wild best-selling book sales of The Hobbit, and then in future, what the Lord of the Rings would bring. At that time, it was really fascinating decision making, but it is a mark of good faith. Obviously, it's a mark of good faith that this type of business language is in the contract, and it uses such really distinct words like literary quality. That's wonderful to see words like that enforced, or maybe I should say enshrined in the language of a binding contract. And who has the sole discretion? Well, that might be the point of debate for many fans, is that Solzhenitsyn company has the sole discretion, but they're not an entity that is associated with the Tolkien estate. They're not the Tolkien family. They are, a company that have built around controlling this IP since they got the rights all those decades ago. And I'm very encouraged by the language there, because it says literary quality, high quality, and...
Is this the legal version of saying fidelity to Tolkien?
It is the legal version of that. It is. There might be some quibbling. There might be some quibbling among the fans about who gets that sole discretionary decision-making power within the Solzhenitsyn company, and that's a mystery. That is a mystery to us. We do not know who those individuals are. But so far, they've been licensing things like, the collectible card game, which they licensed to Decipher. And Decipher did a really good job with that game. It became something that Timothy Holt loved to play while he was a kid on set, making movies, and then later on, big surprise, he gets cast to play Tolkien himself in a biography movie. And there are people like Sideshow and other companies who get to make beautiful replicas and sculptures, and they get licensed to make these products as well. Okay, and at least they're all done properly. They're done in good faith. They're done to high quality standards. And then something happened that everybody disagreed with, and there was a series of gambling machines, gambling companies that was able to license the intellectual property as well. So, there's good and bad, and with most things in life, you take both the good and bad and you make the best of it, realizing that there's a lot of conflicting interests and a lot of business interests at different levels going on in the way that we get Tolkien in popular culture. It's not just one movie studio, it's not just one literary family. There's a lot of other entities going on that have different interests.
That's right.
So, and we're in the middle of all. We're in the middle of all this.
Well, Cliff, I thought it would be great to bring in an expert in video game stuff. So we are joined by
nice description.
We are joined by Kenny Roy, who is a New Zealand-based game developer, old friend of the show. Hello, Kenny. Welcome to the show.
Kenny.
Hey,
excellent.
Hey, great to see you. Hey, good to be here.
It's great to have you here, sir. Welcome.
Yeah. So, Kenny, you took a look at briefly this contract. How rare is it to have this go public?
Well, I mean, I've never seen something as detailed as this, certainly, and I'm sure that the parties involved would prefer this to be kept as close to chest as possible. But I think I agree with you guys. There's a lot in here. There's a lot of language in here that I think really bodes well for a high quality game coming out. Just looking earlier in the contract, some of these dollar amounts that they're talking about, this is a major game they're talking about. This is not some, just.
So this isn't just like a mobile game, because that's what everyone was afraid of, that Tencent is going to make a cheap free to play.
No.
This is not a cheap mobile game.
No, there's actually language in there that describes milestones for a PlayStation and Xbox release. So I think we're talking about a major platform game. I think we're talking about a PC game, definitely AAA quality. And then when you get to these moral clauses, it's very interesting, because as a game designer, you want to have sort of like free reign to do whatever you want. But then there's kind of like all these limitations on there that I think somebody on Twitter actually pointed out that maybe these limitations will actually spawn even more creativity. Some things like good characters can kill when it's necessary. It's okay for good characters to kill when a evil character is irredeemable or threatening. So all these things kind of make it so that you can kind of narrow down what kind of game we're going to be receiving here.
Is that normal to have such micromanagement of like good characters can't kill?
Well, I mean, you can imagine that like Marvel Universe, DC Universe as well probably has these types of types of clauses built in there. I'm not sure if micromanagement is at this level, but I have worked on a few properties, I can't say what, where like it's been controlled all the way down to like you can never see like one side of a character, because you know it's like high, like it's off model, it's like off the character sheet, and like the owners of these properties sometimes get very particular as to how the characters are portrayed, not just morally but visually. So I think that this language is pretty heavy, and it's very verbose on the morality, which I think is the new part of this that is super interesting.
Yeah, let me bring that up on screen. This is really interesting. There's a whole section. It's Exhibit C, called Moral Order. It starts out with, the books have an old-fashioned sensibility that says there really is such thing as right and wrong. And I find this, I mean, as a game developer, Kenny, wouldn't you find this a little bit handcuffed to your creative sensibilities as to make a great AAA action game?
Well, I mean, we love the books and the films, and so there's obviously creative license that you can take to make something, you know, bring it kicking and screaming into this century, and you know, pop culture loves it. But if you look at some of the limitations here, like I was given this when we were having this conversation on Twitter. Like if you were to make a collectible card game, let's say like Hearthstone, there are some cards in most collectible card games which like destroy characters, and like something happens, and if you played that on behalf of like a good character, would that be against the morality clause here? Like would Gandalf be okay with you destroying a good character to deal damage to bad characters?
Well, let's ask Cliff that. Cliff, you're a big gamer. Like,
no, it depends. Game designers are smart enough to put those elements into place because that's what is expected in the way the IP is treated. For example, in the most recent release, do you guys still see me on camera?
Yes.
Here?
Yeah.
There's a wildly popular game from Fantasy Flight Games, and it's called Journeys in Middle-earth. It's not a video game, it's a tabletop game. And within the game, you are characters on the good side of the Force. You're characters like Gandalf or Balin or Bilbo or Aragorn. And you're never going to ever interact with the enemy in this RPG unless, you know, the storytelling in it and the design in the game is to keep that moral fiber and that dichotomy between the heroes and the villains rather distinct. It's very, very clear. It's not like the Nemesis engine, which was so popular in Shadow of War, where everybody was trying to work out early situations with, you know, evil characters, knowing how much it would change their end game, as that orc that you interacted with would certainly come back as a much harder captain or a boss to get you in the late third act. You know, that was part of that was a wild game forward in game design, and people loved that. But no. But the biggest complaint we had out of Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War was the changes they made to Shelob, and to have the character of a ghastly spider of darkness and horror. Suddenly, she shows up as a voluptuous vixen, and she has the ability to shapeshift herself into a beautiful woman, and that caused a lot of strain on that how far you push credulity of playing around with characters in Tolkien's universe. And it wasn't, you know, smutty, and it wasn't about nudity or vulgar. It was just the fact that, you know, Shelob being some kind of creature of the outer darkness, and Professor Tolkien being so deliberately vague about what that character's powers were. Shelob, a descendant of Ungoliant, who was from the outer darkness. All that stuff is like, there's no license to suddenly make up, you know, force powers that aren't there. Oh, did I just say that?
Well, going into a couple other clauses in this real contract with Amazon and a game developer, it talks about races. It says characters should not be made to act in a manner inconsistent with their cultural background. It says culture varies widely for different races, and they go on to describe the hobbits, the wood elves, the high elves, the dwarves, the villains, and the humans, and that characterizations are different behaviors are appropriate and inappropriate to different characters. So, like everyone wants to talk about games and movies and TV shows and popular culture in general is like being woke, and whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, some would argue against that. And it sounds like here we have in contract form language that says, hey, diversity is encouraged. Be true to Tolkien, and characterize these characters well. And mischief is different than physical violence. And people and animals and characters should, at minimum, behave in a manner consistent with the book counterparts and the real world counterparts. So, Kenny, is this type of language normal for?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's probably a lot that has some really good place being in a contract like this because of the expectations and the world that we've come to know and know very well. So like where they say that they have to the creatures have to behave as to like their race. Like the dwarves are basically they're underground and they're all about mining, and then the hobbits are peaceful and they're mischievous, but they don't have spell casting ability. Like all these things, like I mean, does it have to be in there for us to like not completely screw up a game based on Middle Earth? Probably not, but it's good that it's there. What I think is interesting though is that you don't have a game like Fable, for instance, where like your choices really are going to like branch the story, because there isn't like a moral choice that that you can make that would really destroy sort of the code that's been set up in this contract. You're not going to be able to do like an evil only run of one of the good characters. So I think that's pretty important. And on Shadow of Mordor, it was interesting because like obviously you could meme around and like you could do basically whatever you wanted, but if you think back about it, it didn't actually have an impact on the overall arc of the story, and from a moral standpoint, the choices you made in that game. So maybe something like this was in place for that game. I don't know.
Do you think this contract? This game is related to a Lord of the Rings based MMO. That's what they have announced.
Yeah. An
MMO would be like, I don't know, would it be like Grand Theft Auto Online, where like thousands of people can log in at the same time and inhabit a world and either compete or play with each other or raid with each other?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say, because with MMOs, if it's heavily RPG based, like some of the classics like World of Warcraft, obviously, you probably want these. Speaking just in the context of this morality clause, you probably want all of these instances, these raids, these moments that you can encounter with your team. You probably want them to be heavily based in the lore. And if it's just open world MMO like GTA, then I feel like you're probably going to have a lot of trouble staying true to the lore. A lot of trouble, because if you give people just nothing to do, basically they'll get up to anything. And so you'll have people that like all have chosen characters on the good side, and they might get together and just say that all they're going to do is band together and grief new players and just stomp on them, and that would be against this morality clause, right? You shouldn't be able to, as a good character, just like kill new players over and over just because you want to. So it's interesting.
So Cliff has been a huge champion of this idea of fidelity to Tolkien, and what does that mean? How does a concept like that, which is basically saying stay true to the author who's been dead since 1973, how does that translate into all of this new media? And so I think the remarkable thing about these documents is this kind of feels like a first pass at a legal contract that adheres to fidelity to Tolkien, and how do you ensure that teams of hundreds of people making this game will adhere to an author that's been long dead?
It's fascinating to see. A lot of people in the live chat have already said that. They've identified and said, oh, it looks like a contract made by somebody who gives a damn. But a contract language for somebody who cares about fidelity, that means, okay, look at the world of Shakespeare and the way that you have audiences around the world who are still digesting and consuming Shakespeare as part of popular culture. And a lot of people give you a new adaptation of Shakespeare where they play fast and loose with all the things that are familiar, tropes, and some of them get really wild and very modernized. And that pisses off a small group of people, and they're called classicists, okay? They are the ones who only want their Shakespeare to look like it still smells of the Globe Theater from centuries ago. That's what they want, and they're classicists, okay? Now, there is not, at this point, that analogy falls apart when you're comparing it to Lord of the Rings fans, because yes, I don't want to sound like I am a classicist. I am willing to accept all kinds of new ideas within the world of Tolkien, the way it's adapted, but I've got certain ideas that I think a lot of people share as a real great common thread, that if you stray too far, if you stray way too far, then you're going to end up with a different product, and it will be called a product. It won't be called serious literature.
Well, that
literary minded. The language is there. It says literary minded and literary quality. It's right here in this new contract language. It's pretty wild that there's the common thread, is that if you stray too far from it, you're going to end up being George R.R. Martin, or you might end up being Ursula K. Le Guin. You might end up having the idiom and the literary quality of a different source material, and it's therefore not distinguishable and distinct as Tolkien anymore.
Yes. I appreciate everyone's time, and Kenny, thanks for taking time out of your day. One last question before we let you go. As someone who's been in the game industry for years, and have worked with Microsoft, Xbox, and Nintendo, and PC platforms, I believe you developed a whole game on Twitch, like streaming the development of the game. That was amazing. The other big controversy that the fans have erupted on over this information today is the involvement of Tencent, which is a Chinese company. Now, Tencent either owns a stake in Epic Games, Riot, Activision Blizzard, and Ubisoft. In your opinion, have they been safe stewards of some of the biggest game franchises? Like, should we not worry so much about their involvement?
When anybody has that many tendrils in that many plates, that's when I start to worry.
Yeah, I think there's actually cause to be worried. Maybe not, dust off the torches, don't light them yet. The problem with getting like that much control to just like one company is that there's going to be overarching small degrees of change to the whole industry at a time. And so, like, if you do like a 1 degree change today, that might not seem very, very big. But like, if you walk, a mile with a 1 degree change, you'll end up like 200 feet from where you were. And we all kind of are really enjoying where we are. We're enjoying games that have like pro-social messages. We're enjoying games that have are emphasizing inclusivity. There's some amazing games for good coming out that are supporting people like in the LGBTQ community and like and all these things. And we know that Tencent in China, they're not great on those things. And so if we can hold their feet to the fire and make sure that everything that they're touching stays on the path that we want to be on, because we are on a very positive games for good pro-social track right now. If we can keep them there, then I think that's good. So let's just hold their feet to the fire.
And then one last thing, I noticed a clause in one of the addendums. Let's bring it up on screen. A whole clause that says Amazon TV show. The Tolkien estate granted Amazon or its affiliate certain rights to develop and distribute a TV show based upon Lord of the Rings. In order to avoid conflict or confusion between matters related to the TV show and the game, we've adjusted some of the language in here. So I believe this is basically saying that the intent of this game is to play in the world that the TV show is creating. Otherwise, I don't think there wouldn't be any language, for or against. This is an Amazon game that they're paying a developer to make. And in this contract, the Saul Zaentz company, who is all over this contract, who's a signatory on it, is saying, hey, by the way, according to this contract, there's a TV show going on. So just to be clear, there's a TV show and there's a game, and both of these are going to be playing with the same license that is at work. But that doesn't mean that the game will look like the show necessarily, because the Avengers just had a huge AAA game come out this year, and it features characters that aren't in the movies, and it features familiar characters that don't necessarily look like their movie counterparts. Do you think, Kenny? Do you think moving forward, just looking at the future, you've got $1 billion Amazon show. Amazon is spending a ton of money on this game. Do you think they should be related?
They probably the game will probably, it'll be in their best interest to follow the TV show as much as they can, so that they can capitalize on the cross marketing and all of the things that fans of the new TV show are going to want to see. So I'm not sure if these are really like there's a Chinese wall between them, but they certainly should be talking if they're not already.
That's awesome. Now, for all those watching, we've been banging the drum on this all year long. Like if you've always wanted to work on Lord of the Rings, and you've been honing your cosplay crafts or your musicianship or your development skills or your artistic skills, Photoshop or 3D animation, how could one get a job working on this huge, big budget, AAA, multi-platform Lord of the Rings game? And any tips for people looking to join the developer?
Probably the best thing you can do is to hone a very single craft. AAA games are looking for people who are specialists in their field. So don't try to make everything yourself and then like submit or put online like this tiny little indie game where you've done everything. Probably just, if you want to be a character model, just do character models over and over and over. Live and breathe Tolkien and just model all day and all night, and then put that stuff up on rstation.com and look for where they're posting the jobs for this property, and good luck to you. I'm out of time, but this was really fun and insightful. So thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you so
Absolutely.
much for joining us, Kenny, and your
Dude,
expertise.
yeah, very much.
And thank you for being in New Zealand and being in the safest country in the world.
Yeah, no, I'm the lucky one.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah,
we'll talk to you soon,
absolutely.
Kenny. Thank you.
All right.
It's a pleasure. Thank you,
See
sir.
ya. Bye.
Good stuff. Really good stuff.
All right,
we've
Cliff.
We've got this contract in front of us, and it really is intriguing, isn't it? Because I think it reveals something about them wanting to handle the property in a faithful way.
So overall, big picture, Cliff, you've been banging the drum about fidelity to Tolkien. You've been wondering who the adult is in the room on the set. You know, who's looking out for Tolkien on all of this stuff. Jeff Bezos is the richest man in the history of the world. He can brute force pay off anybody he wants. Does this contract for this video game get you more excited, more nervous, or does this calm a lot of fears that you had?
If only that were easy. Gosh, if it were only that easy to look into the magic 8-ball. This is what we all want. We all want to be able to look in that magic 8-ball and see what's going on. But in terms of this contract appearing for a video game development, do you think this same type of language would appear in the Amazon contract with the writers and the developers of the TV show?
I do, because this contract
It's
a party.
That is promising. That is promising.
The Tolkien estate and the Saul Zaentz company are a party on this contract, just as they are a party on the Amazon TV show contract.
Are they?
Yes.
I thought that they would have been quite separate.
The Tolkien estate has entrusted Saul Zaentz to manage their interest.
Okay. Wow.
So
okay.
There are clauses in this contract, and we'll probably post a deeper dive on the OneRing.net in the coming days. But there are clauses in this contract that give the Saul Zaentz company review rights on, the lore and character development and things like that. This is exactly what we heard about the TV show. So this is basically as close as we'll get, I think, ever, to what the TV show contract looks like between Amazon, a production company, and the Tolkien estate. And so, just from your initial review of these documents, are you feeling better about things?
Let's just put it this way. I think I shall take myself out into the garden and have myself a cup of tea, hot tea, with fresh apple tarts and jam from my pantry, and I will expect my guests to arrive, and we'll sit out in the garden, and my guests Gandalf and Balin will come and visit, and we'll have a relaxing pipe and some muffins and perhaps some pork sausages and biscuits in case someone is a little more hungry, some fresh food. And then all of a sudden, I think we'll relax into it, and we'll realize at the end of the day, maybe these people know what they're doing, and maybe we're going to have to see. We'll have to wait and see. But it seems much more reassuring if this is the type of language, and we know ultimately that the Tolkien estate can take a look at the episodes they're making and can say yes or no to whether they want to veto something that has gone too far astray. Wow, I think maybe we should just wait and see. And we should relax in the garden with our friends, at least 6 or 10 feet apart, at least for now, right?
That's great. Well, Cliff, this has been a great conversation. Thank you for unboxing and unveiling the 4K Blu-rays. We're going to have a full review about the quality and the colors and the scenes. You better believe that of all people, Cliff will know what has changed, the most minuscule little thing.
We'll see. I don't know. Oh my gosh. I tell you what, it is really quite awesome that the early comments from all of our friends online are so wildly promising, and I'm excited to get my new player. I guess I better sell my old Blu-ray on Craigslist or something. I'm not going to need that anymore because it's going to be backwards compatible with all of my library of existing Blu-rays. I have the complete Studio Ghibli collection, and I'm not going to be able to replace that anytime soon. I have so many movies on Blu-ray that I'm not going to replace right away, certainly the Miyazaki films, and but I'm so excited about this. And also tomorrow, probably late tomorrow, our friend Oscar Villanueva is joining us with a hard copy report to talk about the kinds of equipment and things you need to start looking into to get the 4K experience. The real ultra high def is here. It's here now, and ultimately when I get my technical jiggery pokery all done at home, I'll be able to watch it and write my review as well.
Last year for Thanksgiving week, we did a very special episode with Hannah. We had a big turkey dinner and at Scum and Villainy Cantina as a group, and let's just remark in this pandemic time that I'm spending Thanksgiving just like you and I are spending right now, virtual and remote, and I love my family, but not this year. It's just too risky, and I encourage everybody, keep wearing your masks, don't travel, break some hearts this year. This is the year to break some hearts, because your family will forgive you, and they should, and they will at the end of this, but stay home, please. And
absolutely.
And I
agree,
So happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and the only other thing I want to say before we close out is, you guys get ready for next week, because we're going to have some crazy, crazy stuff that I can't even hype enough. Next week is going to be amazing. This is Torn Tuesday. Thank you, amazing. Kenny Roy, for Skyping in from New Zealand. Thank you, Cliff, for getting the 4K Blu-ray early. This is amazing, and thank you everybody for joining us. We'll be here next week with something so insane. This next week is the show you want to watch live.
Justin, don't reveal it too soon.
I'm not saying anything else. I am so excited.
You can't tell them too soon.
I'm so excited.
Ladies and gentlemen, this
contract is just the start. I'm telling you. This contract is just the start.
Hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, we have little birdies landing on our windowsill.
No! I can't!
They're giving us inside information.
Inside the home plate information.
Inside.
Next week, boy, oh boy. Anyway, Cliff, take us
Justin,
out.
I want to say, Justin, you are a gentleman. Thank you, sir. It's so wonderful to have you help us put this together. And thank you again to Kenny Roy as our special guest from the opposite side of the globe. And an acknowledgement to all of the fans, our faithful audience, who has been our faithful viewers for over 7.5 years on the live stream and over 20 years on the website. Stick with us at theonering.net, because we are forged by the fans, for the fans of J.R.R. Tolkien. Welcome aboard. Until then, we'll see you next Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And do take care of yourselves. Have a merry, good time by yourselves on Thanksgiving at home. And stay safe. Buenas noches y buena suerte.